What crimes cannot be pardoned in Canada? That's what I'm going to cover in this video. I'm Dan Joffe, lawyer at NextLaw, Canada's only law firm dedicated to pardons and U.S. waivers. Let's get started. The Canadian government will grant you a pardon, which is now called a record suspension, if you have completed your sentence in full, waited a period of time, and have stayed a law-abiding citizen. However, there are three exceptions where you cannot get a pardon. First is when you have been convicted of more than 3 indictable offenses, each resulting in a sentence of jail for 2 or more years. What's important with this exception is that the convictions need to be indictable offenses. The Criminal Code of Canada makes a distinction between what is known as indictable offenses and summary offenses. In simple terms, indictable offenses are more serious than summary offenses. And if you are not sure whether your convictions were indictable or summary offenses, you can find that information out by contacting the court where your case was heard. The second exception where you cannot get a pardon is if you were convicted of a sexual assault which involved a minor. However, there is a scenario where you may be able to get a record suspension if you can convince the Parole Board of Canada of 3 things regarding the circumstances of your assault. First, you were not in a position of trust or authority with the victim. Second, you did not use or threaten to use any violence, intimidation, or coercion on the victim. And third, you were less than 5 years older than the victim. The last exception where you cannot get a pardon is being convicted of a crime and you get a sentence of life or an indeterminate sentence. An indeterminate sentence means that your jail term does not have an end date. After 7 years, the Parole Board of Canada will review your indeterminate sentence to determine whether an end date should be defined. If the Parole Board does not define an end date, then your case will be reviewed again in 2 years to assess whether an end date should be defined. Finally, the most important factor in getting your pardon is to get your application right. Mistakes will cost you time and in some cases rejection. We are Canada's only law firm dedicated to pardons and U.S. waivers. Let's get your application done right for a reasonable cost. Click on the link below to schedule a free no obligation call.